Good morning, everyone. Please take your seats. We'll get started with some announcements. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. It's so good to see everyone on this fine, chilly morning. I see people are just walking in here, so let's get our seats and we'll get started. All right. So, welcome, everyone. Welcome to Belvedere. We will start with a few announcements. All right, so today we have our community garden fall cleanup today. So please join us after service. We'll start at 12. Whoever's interested, just please come on down to the garden and we'll do a little cleanup, just cleaning the garden beds and just really preparing closing for the winter time and also preparation for spring as well. So it'll be a really good time. So starting today, Leila calendar for the year 2024 will be for sale. And here is a look of what the calendar looks like. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? So yeah, 20% of the net worth will go to the church. So Mrs. Takahashi will be in the other room. She has a table all set up. So please go on ahead and grab a calendar. So this week, the care team is sponsoring a presentation on how to prepare for a stress-free Seonghwa celebration for your family. So it will be this Friday, November 17th at 7:00 p.m. on Zoom. So please look out for an email for the Zoom link for later this week. And next Sunday, on the 19th, we'll have a very special guest speaker, Nancy Jubb, coming to speak at Belvedere. So let's really welcome her and very excited to have her here. So in 2 weeks, we'll have our very first Hyojan Nuri Children's Service. Yay! So all are welcome. So we'll have some songs, performances, and a movie for the kids after service. And just to make sure that the service will start at 11 a.m., not at 10, 11 a.m., okay? And then we'll also have a potluck lunch after service as well. So all those details will be emailed to you in the coming weeks. All right, so that is it for announcements. So yeah, let's bring up the song team and let's sing some songs together.
All right. Good morning, Belvedere. How's everyone doing today? Great. Yeah, I wasn't able to be here last week, but I had the opportunity to watch it on YouTube. So for anyone who, if you can't make it, obviously I know there are some faces that aren't here. I encourage you. We do have a YouTube channel, Belvedere Family Community Church. Look it up. You'll find it. It's a lot of fun. It's great when you're not able to make it. So please check it out. But with that, if you wouldn't mind all standing up, our first song is a classic, a favorite. It's called By and By. Stand with me Ready? Here we go.
By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. We are tossed and driven on the restless seas of time. Somber skies and howling tempests oft succeed the bright sunshine. In the land of perfect day, when the mists have rolled away, we will understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. We are often destitute of the things that life demands, want of shelter and of food, thirsty hills and barren lands. We are trusting in the Lord, and according to His word, we will understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by. Trials dark on every hand, and we cannot understand all the ways that God will lead us to that blessed promised land. But He guides us with His eye, and we'll follow Him on high, and we'll understand it better by and by. Hey! By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by.
Let's go again.
By and by, when the morning comes, all the saints of God are gathered home. We'll tell the story how we've overcome, and we'll understand it better by and by.
Last line again.
And we'll understand it better by and by.
One more time.
And we'll understand it better by and by.
Man, great energy. Wonderful. We actually busted the house. That's what we're doing. Bringing the house down. Good job. So this next song, Days of Elijah, obviously living in the time of providence, right? The time of the kingdom of heaven. It's we are seeing all these things that people have spoken about in prophecy about the second coming, what that looks like, and we can see it every single day. It is our truth, right? It is the reality. And I hope you will all join me in joining the Days of Elijah. And 1 second for the main screen to come up. Been having some problems with the more than a second. All right. Well, with that, we'll take while we go ahead and we fill for a little bit of time for the music to come back up, because I know not everybody here knows this particular song and the story. Well, everyone knows the story, but they don't know this particular song. I want to take a moment then, kind of talk about something that was on my heart over the last couple of weeks. And really, one of the reasons why I had mentioned, obviously, Pastor Justin has been providing an opportunity for people to come forward and talk about the change of the council and the future of our movement and the future direction of our church. And one thing that I've been thinking about a lot was it's a little bit inside baseball. I know we have some folks here who are brand new to the community. They are first generation, but they're young, similar to myself or like my wife. And it's been one of those things where it's kind of interesting. What are they talking about? This first generation, second generation thing. Why is this so important to this church? I thought we're about the divine principle, and there's this blessing, and that's what we're moving and striving towards, the end of days and the Messiah come again. And I guess I wanted to be able to say that for everyone out here, it really is, it's our heart and our love. That's what we're working through right now, this first generation, second generation issue, this growth. It's restoring the true family. It's about being able to have that relationship with our parents and our parents to have that relationship with us as we go from not just being children, but growing into adulthood, unique individuals and unique persons that still have that filial piety, that have that love and that respect. And I think that is something that maybe the inside baseball has made it a little tough for some folks to really capture and to understand. But that is the conversation. Using our own language, using our own culture, so to speak, that's what you've been hearing. But if you were trying to find the meaning, like, why is this important to me? How does this apply to my spiritual journey? I hope that you can find that connection, that this is about the love between a parent and a child, right? Between God and his children, between our actual physical parents and us, and between our spiritual parents and us. And with that, I think I have stalled for enough time. So we will go ahead. I am so sorry. With that, we're going to go to this next song, The Days of Elijah. Please, if you wouldn't mind, save me.
These are the days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days of your servant Moses, righteousness being restored. And though these are days of great trial, of famine and darkness and sword, still we hear a voice in the desert crying, prepare ye the way of the Lord. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun. At the trumpet call, lift your voice. It's a year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation comes. These are the days of Ezekiel, the dry bones becoming as flesh. And these are the days of your servant David, rebuilding a temple of praise. And these are the days of the harvest, the fields are as white in your word. And we are the laborers in your vineyard, declaring a word of the Lord. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun. At the trumpet call, lift your voice. It's the year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation comes. There's no word like Jehovah. There's no God like Jehovah. There's no God like Jehovah. This is easy. There's no God like Jehovah. 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 Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun. At the trumpet call, lift your voice. It's a year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation comes again. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun. At the trumpet call, lift your voice. It's a year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation again, everybody again. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun. At the trumpet call, lift your voice. It's a year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation. Oh, you're gonna sing it one more time. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun. At the trumpet call, lift your voice. It's a year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation comes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for working through the technical difficulties. Man, you guys sound good this morning. I'll say that. Oh, well, there's a great supporting cast up here. I tell you what, this is it. This is a truly something where we all have our highs, we all have our lows, we all have our moments where we are strong, and that's why we knit a community together, because there are moments when we are weak. And just like a basket where everything leans on each other, that's how we are here. And that's how we're able to weather the storm and to carry water, right?
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to do the next song called Lean on Me by Mr. Bill Withers. If you don't know the words, fortunately, it's pretty simple. So in case we lose the screen again, with that, please.
Sometime in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we all know there is tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. You know, just might have a problem that I'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If there is something you need to borrow, for no one can fill all of your needs that you won't let it show on me. When you're not strong, I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, sister, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. You know, you might have a problem that I'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. One more time. Need somebody to lean on. Guys, make me feel good. Thank you all so much. Mika? Uncle Matthew's going to give a quick prayer.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Good morning. Hallelujah. Another beautiful day, another beautiful weekend. We're all here together as a family, right? That's right. This is what's great. Let us begin with a prayer. Heavenly Parent, thank you for this beautiful day that we're here together as a family to be able to listen to your word, the amazing word, the word that can really revive us and to really uplift us for this new week, and that you can hear our calling, because each one of us has our own calling. Each one of us is going to be inspired in our own ways from what we hear and what we say and how much we love each other. We pray that you can be with us as we do this together, love each other, and really raise the spirit, make this like a new beginning, a new happening, a new life that's here on earth. We want to be able to make this happen today as we are brothers and sisters, as we are here as a family, as we really want to have your will to be fulfilled. Thank you, Heavenly Parent, for all that you've given to us. Speak through our speaker today so he can inspire and have his words be powerful. We pray this all together in this most historic, providential day. In the name of Christine and Matthew Leary, Leary Blessed Central Family, Jew.
Thank you for that very enthusiastic prayer this morning. Really enjoyed it. So going to invite our speaker today. We all know him, of course. So the title today of the sermon is What It's All About. So let's welcome Pastor Justin.
All right. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Okay, wow, that was amazing. So I feel interesting right now because my sermon was pretty much already given. But you know, there's something when two Justins say the same message. There's some kind of significance to that, I believe. So it's good to see you all. It's been a few weeks since I last spoke, and lots been happening since then. And there's so much I'd like to share with you, but I'll try to not keep you here all day. Some of you might have noticed I look a little different today. I'm not trying to make a fashion statement, by the way. Actually, what happened is I received this sweatshirt yesterday at my doorstep. There was a package with my name on it, and it didn't say who it was from. So I got this anonymous gift. I'm hoping that if I show it here and put it out there, please let me know who you are, so I can personally thank you for this sweatshirt. Thank you. I'm also I'm still kind of in the recovery stages of a cold that I had a couple weeks ago, so I might be coughing a little bit. Don't worry about it. It's part of the process. But today, as my title suggests, I want to talk about what it's all about. So, would you like to know what it's all about? So ask me, what is it all about? That's a good question. So what is it all about? What it's all about? What is the it of what it's all about? It's whatever is happening in your life. It is whatever's happening here, what's happening in our world. Everything and anything is what it is. And I know that's a lot, but I've been really feeling how God has been working recently, especially. I feel like God is like doing some sprints right now to get some things done. Last week, we had a celebration of the 50 years of extraordinary devotion of our Japanese missionaries. Let's give it up for them. Some of them are here in this room. It was interesting that while they were celebrating, while I was there partially too, while we were celebrating the 50 years, we were also celebrating 24 years of the council at the same time on that same Sunday. And also there was Veterans Day yesterday. Let's give it up for all of our veterans. And also tomorrow is a special day that we call Children's Day, right? So really I'm seeing what we call a lot of synchronicities, right? Synchronicity is basically where a lot of things happen at the same time that don't necessarily seem to be coming from the same cause, but they're all going in the same direction, right? And usually when we see synchronicities happen, that is sign that God is working, that God's hand is at work in our life. And I want to ask you, do you feel like God is guiding your life? Do you feel like God is guiding the situation? Can you feel that? You can be honest about it if it is. If not, that's fine. But I can just tell you from my own experience, my own perspective, I feel more guided by God than I've ever felt in my life. I could really see how God is working. And let's give it up to our Heavenly Parent and true parents for that amazing guidance. Okay, so, aw. maybe you weren't meant to see that picture. So what was on the screen, if you're in the front row, you can look at it back there, is a picture of the live stream recording on YouTube of the sermon I gave a few weeks ago. And so that sermon seemed to kind of go, what we say, viral in our movement. It had about 800 views combined with YouTube and Vimeo, and it was, it was a pretty long sermon. It was like an hour long, and all these people decided to watch it, to share it. I got so many messages, Facebook messages, through my phone, emails, of people letting me know that they watched this sermon. And I even got a call from one elder, what we call second gen, 48 years old. And he calls me out of nowhere. I don't know who this guy is. And he calls me and he says, I haven't watched a sermon in like 4 years, but somebody shared with me your sermon. And I watched it. And he said, congratulations for committing seppuku. That's a Japanese word. It means kind of sacrificing yourself. It actually means killing yourself, but anyway. I also heard that someone that we all love and respect, Dr. Young, also watched that sermon. And he gave a call to one of our members, Mr. Funakoshi. Where is he? Where is he? He's somewhere out there. So he called Mr. Funakoshi and he's like, Mr. Funakoshi, is Justin okay? How's he doing? He was very concerned about my well-being. And I heard the story that Mr. Funakoshi watched that sermon 3 times so he could really understand what I was trying to convey. And he said very clearly and firmly to Dr. Young, everything is okay. Don't worry. So I am so grateful for that. Let's get it up for Mr. Funakoshi, wherever he is. So that sermon obviously got a lot of different reactions and responses. Some on the very positive end, a few people mentioned that they want to donate to what we're doing, and then also on the other end of like struggling, like, whoa, why did you say those things? And calls for my resignation and all kinds of things. So I'm not bringing this up because I'm trying to milk my viral moment in history. This really it's not about me at all. It's really something about what I said, something about that message struck a chord with a lot of people. So much that they felt compelled to share it all over the place. I mean, all over the country, all over the world. And honestly, the feedback has been so overwhelming for me. It's still coming at me. People sharing what they felt and what they got, and concern, worry, just the whole spectrum of emotions are coming out. But I want to just really say that I have no regrets. I have no regrets about what I shared. And it's not because I feel like what I shared was perfect. It's not because I felt like everything I shared was the absolute truth. It's not because I felt like everything I shared was well thought out and packaged well in a way that is best it could be packaged. But the reason why I'm saying I don't regret it is because of all the lessons I learned through it. It was through, that experience that I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about my brothers and sisters, so much about this family. I learned about God. I learned about true parents, and I really learned about what love really is, and how amazing the people around me are. Their incredible love and support. But most importantly, I learned about what it's all about, what it's all about. And I want to share about what I feel, what I've learned about it. But before I talk about what it's all about, I need to talk about what it's not about. You can't see that slide. Because I want to clarify what all of this is not about, first of all, before we go into what it's about. So I came up with a list of the definitive things that it's not about. Hopefully it'll show on the screen. So first of all, I want to say it's not about the quote unquote generation gap. It's not about, like Justin said, it's not about first generation or second generation. It's definitely not about mistakes of the past. It's not about fixing things that are broken. It's not about who is right or who is wrong. It's not about anybody being weak or not enough of something or too much of something else. It's not about that. It's not about the Belvedere Council, okay? It's really not about the council. It's not about the people, the particular people who were on that final council. It's not about the people who were on the council before that, or before that, or before that, or before that, or the people who founded the council. It's not about any of that or any of those people. It's not about authority. It's not about power. It's not about a power grab or a coup to take certain authority. It's also not about growing the community. It's not about figuring out the best way to grow this community. It's not about moving things forward with innovative ideas. And it's really not about this particular group of people at all, this Belvedere family community. And it's also not even about the unification movement or the family federation. And it's definitely not about you. It's not about you in particular. It's not about your challenges or your response to what I said, how you felt about it. It's not about your mistakes, or it's not about your successes, your personality, your character. And it's definitely not about me. It's not about, I was so, honest and authentic, and oh wow, that was so great. What a great message. What a great thing to share, to everyone. It's not about me at all. And if I made it about me, if I made all of these reactions and responses about me, I would be committing a really big mistake. It would be going from something that God is trying to do here to something that I'm trying to do here. And I don't want it to be about something that I'm trying to do here. I want this to be about something God is trying to make happen. And, I don't want this to become some kind of ego trip about my own significance as a person. Okay. And I also want to invite you all to also not make this about your own significance as an individual or as a person. Like, none of what is happening here has anything particularly to do with your existence or meaning anything about your particular value as a person or as an individual. One thing I want us all to remember from this, if you take away anything from this message, is that It's not personal, it's providential. Okay? Say that together. It's not personal, it's providential. I think the biggest mistake we can make as we walk the way of the providence is we make things personal. John the Baptist made things personal. You know, he made it about him. He made it about what a great speaker I am, what a great mission I have. You know, Cain made things personal. It says in Genesis, God spoke to Cain. Why this tantrum? Why the sulking? If you do well, won't you be accepted? And if you don't do well, sin is lying in wait for you, ready to pounce. It's out to get you. You've got to master it. When I hear that quote, what I hear is God really trying to let Cain know, like, everything that's happening to you right now, this whole situation, how you're feeling, it's not personal. Do not take it as a personal threat to your significance as a person. Do not make it mean something more than what's happening. Because if you think about it, wasn't God also trying to do something really amazing through Cain as well as Abel? Something had to happen through that relationship, but it had nothing to do with those particular people, Abel and Cain. But Cain took things personally, and he thought that what was happening to him was something that meant something about who he is and his value and his relationship with God, and it hurt his pride, and it drove him into a rage where he eventually killed his brother because of, right? We all know that story. Another way to look at it is life is like a drama. The world is the stage, people are actors, and God is the director. There's a story that's trying to be written through what's happening right now, through our lives right now, through our relationships. Through you and through me and through this time, through this relationship between me and you and each other, us and God and true parents. Reflect on this. You know, what story is God trying to tell you, tell the world through our life, through this situation, through this community, and what's happening in this community? Another question to consider is, what wound wants to be healed through this situation, through this conversation, through these relationships? What wound wants to be healed? What relationship wants to be restored? And what question wants to be answered? So what is the story of God's providence? Right? If God is the director making the story, is the story of God's providence a battle between good and evil? A war between good and evil? Is that the story of God's providence? Is it a story of overcoming oppression? Is it a romantic love story? Or maybe a story of friendship and adventure? What is the story that God is trying to write? Or maybe it's a story about parents and children. Father Moon says, what is the center of the universe? In short, it is the parent-child relationship. Ultimately, I think the story of God's providence, the story of what God is trying to do, it is a story about the unbreakable bond between parents and children, the parent-child relationship. how a loving parent lost his relationship with his children and has been striving for thousands of years to restore that relationship, to get that relationship back, to embrace his children again and to love them. So look at those questions again. What is the story God is trying to tell? Again, it is the story of parental love. What is the wound that wants to be healed? What happened between parents and children? There's some kind of pain that's there that has stopped the relationship from really turning into the one that God desired. I think it's the pain, that feeling of a lack of love, that feeling of feeling neglected, the feeling of being orphaned on the child's part, but also on the parent's part. It's that pain of feeling misunderstood, like their parental heart is not being understood by their children. So there's pain on both sides of this relationship, the parent's pain and also the child's pain. And what relationship wants to be restored? It's really that trust, the trust between a parent and the child towards their parents. That the children can truly trust their parents' love unconditionally and absolutely. And finally, what is the question that wants to be answered? Again, this is not a personal question. This is a historical question. This is a collective question. This is a cosmic question that is trying to be answered, that wants to be answered in the hearts of God's children and in God's heart. And what I feel that question is this: do they really love me unconditionally? This is the question that children are asking of their parents. Do they really love me unconditionally? This is the question that all of us have at one point in our life asked that question. Do my parents really love me unconditionally? Like unconditionally, like it doesn't matter who I am or what I've done, but do my parents, can they truly love me unconditionally? Every child in the history of humanity, I believe, has asked this question. And it is this question and the perceived answer to this question that determines our direction in our life. Whether or not we can come to terms with our parents' love. I think answering this question will determine whether or not we live someday in a world of peace or live in a world of conflict and war. To me, this question is also the difference between someone who's still in that growth stage and somebody who's crossed that line into adulthood, into maturity. You know, being a mature human being, I don't think is about being able to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning every single day for 2,000 days straight. I think being a mature human being is somebody who has absolute certainty that the answer to this question is unequivocally yes. You can clap for that. You know, and it's unfortunate that we got stuck. We got stuck at some point. Something didn't allow us to cross over that line where we could live with absolute certainty in the unconditional love of God, of our parents. You know, we never had the opportunity to truly experience that answer for ourselves. You know, a lot of us, when we think about, oh, do your parents love you? Do my parents love you? We have this idea like, yeah, of course my parents love me. They gave birth to me. They provide me a house. They place to stay. You know, of course they love me. You know, in theory, I think a lot of us know in theory that our parents love us, but I think a lot of us and the world has yet to truly experience this answer that we're looking for. And many of us have stopped asking the question, stopped asking, do my parents love me? Do they really love me? Because it's either too scary to ask the question, because you think you already know the answer. There's a lot of people that already think they know the answer, that the answer is no. They don't love me unconditionally. And I have to be a certain way and do certain things in order to be loved. They've come to that conclusion. This is the state of humanity. So, this message that I gave a few weeks ago, the decisions I made, really what this was is the child's heart longing to answer this question. Do they love me unconditionally? And again, it's not about me. It's about there is a question that needs to be answered in the heart of children, in the heart of humanity. And this was the question that I was unconsciously asking myself as I was sharing this message and preparing for this message. I was asking myself if I really shared, how I felt, if I didn't filter anything, like if I just came unfiltered, if I didn't prepare this message, to the perfect T so that it was strategically messaged so that everyone would get it. And if I didn't put all that effort to making sure that people could understand my heart, if I didn't do those things, if I didn't try to present myself as some perfect image, if I didn't make it easy for you, if I didn't ask for permission before making a decision, if I didn't give prior warning before making an important decision, the question I was trying to answer on an unconscious level was, would you still love me anyway? Would you still love me anyway? Would my parents still love me? Would my true parents still love me? And I'm sharing this with you because I know that your children are asking that same question of you. I know because I was asking that question of my own parents. Do they really love me unconditionally? Will they still be there if they really knew what was going on in my heart? And after that sermon, I actually talked to my parents. And I shared with them what was really going on in my heart, how I was really feeling about things. And I shared with them things that were very painful to hear. I shared with them that, that I had felt a lack of love, that I was feeling neglected, that I was missing their presence in my life. I didn't hold back. I didn't try to make it easy on them. And it was a really painful experience. It was painful for me to say those things, and it was painful for them to hear it. My mom was practically in tears, and I could tell it was painful. But I could also see the truth that I was seeking for all along. I could see their unconditional love. I was able to experience their unconditional love. That they do, in fact, love me however I show up in the world, however I show up in front of them, that they do indeed love me. And your children most likely are having that same struggle of, can I really show everything? Can I really tell everything to my parents? Will they really be there after that conversation? Some of them have already in their mind decided that my parents they're not going to be able to take it. They wouldn't be able to take it if I really shared everything with them. But I want you to remember that how your children feel about you, how your children struggle with you, has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with whether or not you were a great parent or not so great parent, whether or not you made mistakes or didn't make mistakes. Your children's struggle with you has nothing to do with you personally, because it's a challenge that started way before you even existed, way before your children existed. It's the same challenge that the first children faced, Adam and Eve. You think about Adam and Eve, one of the questions I wonder about is, why couldn't they go to God? Like, they were struggling. They were obviously struggling. They were struggling with their faith. They were struggling with this relationship. They had this person who was saying all these things. Why couldn't they just go directly to God and say, God, I'm struggling right now. There are some things on my heart that are so difficult to talk about. I need to tell you about it. Why couldn't they do that? And if they did do that, wouldn't everything just would have been resolved right there? If they could have just gone to their parents. But they had their doubts. They felt they couldn't talk to God. They doubted God's unconditional love for them. They thought to themselves, if I told God what I was struggling through, what I was going through right now, I would lose God's love. I would be kicked out of the garden. And so I want you to just remember, if you take anything away from this, just remember that it's not personal, it's providential. What's going on in your life, in your family, in this community, has nothing to do with you, has nothing to do with me. It's providence. It is God working. It is a story that is trying to be told. It is a conclusion that is trying to be gotten to. It is a wound, a cosmic wound that is trying to be healed through you, through me, through us. But not because of you, not because of us. So that's really what I wanted to share today. Thank you, Galvin. You're the man. So some of you maybe came here expecting me to announce like what's next. I think I might have said some things that I was going to say, talk about that. Talk about, okay, what's the next structure? What's the new way? And honestly, I thought about it. I really did think about sharing about these things. And don't get me wrong, there are things I could share about if I chose to. There are things that are in the works. Just a little hint, we do have a new ad hoc committee that's going to be meeting to create our new structure of governance. And it's exciting, but for now, the reason why I'm not going to be sharing about that right now is because it's not what I want you to all focus on. I don't want your focus to be drawn to what's happening in the community and all of that. Because that was one of the things that I had to be honest with my own parents about, is that, I had felt like they had prioritized the church over me. And, I told them right now, more than anything, what I don't need is I don't need partners in the providence. I don't need fellow soldiers who are going to save the world together. What I really need is I just need parents. I need parents who will ask me, how am I doing? And parents who will take me out to lunch once a month and treat me and pay for the meal. And we actually made a rule together that when we're at home, we don't talk about church. We don't talk about community stuff. We'll create designated time to talk about that. But when we're at home, let's talk about each other. Let's connect personally. Because that's what I need more than anything. I just need that personal connection from my parents. And this past Monday, my parents did, in fact, take me out to lunch. All you can eat. They listened to me. They asked me how I'm doing. It was beautiful. I loved every minute of it. They did pay, actually. And I just felt so much incredible love from my parents. I felt like I can talk to them about everything, anything and everything. And that's really what I think every parent wants and every child really wants. So until things are kind of revealed and you can get excited about getting engaged with all those cool things, I really just want to ask you, for the time being, please just talk to your kids. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them questions that maybe you've been afraid to ask. How did you really feel about that? Why is it this way? Why don't we talk as much as we both want to? Ask those challenging questions that we've been afraid to ask. And show them that you can love them unconditionally. I really feel if we think about what's next, it's time to put down our weapons of fighting this battle of good versus evil. It's time to come home from the battle. It's time to come home from the war. In the future, I would love to hear more testimonies about parents really relating with their children, really rebuilding that trust. I was so moved by Kim Yo-san's testimony yesterday about how she went on a vacation with her kids and they shared things they never shared with each other. Share testimonies of, not like, oh, I invited my daughter or my son to a church event and they came and wow, it's so exciting. But testimonies about, we talked about things that we never thought we could talk about. We broke through in our heart. We healed old wounds. We restored trust in the relationship. And I really believe that if we can become a community that's filled with those kind of testimonies, filled of testimonies of parents and children doing the work, the providential work of God, restoring that relationship, I promise you, it doesn't matter what I do as a pastor. It doesn't matter what I do, because that will be the kingdom of heaven. A community filled with those testimonies, lives lived that way, will be the kingdom of heaven on earth. So that's all I wanted to share with you all today. God bless you. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Justin. Wow, what a profound message this morning. So yeah, let's take time right now just to reflect. A couple minutes. All right, so now we'll do a little pair share. So you can talk to someone next to you. It can be in threes, or if someone doesn't have a partner, just run to them and just, yeah, share how your reflection was. If you haven't switched yet, please switch. All right, let's wrap it up. Just wrap up your sentence. All right, would anyone like to share some of your reflections? Would you like to share? All right, Bob.
I'll be quick too. Thank you. I like what one young lady said here, that it's not, about the personal. It's about God. What's a treasure for me is me taking responsibility for myself, me being happier in my own skin, me taking responsibility for myself and being a better person. That's what means a lot to me. It was interesting because last night I had an experience with my son and daughter where they start, with respect, talking about politics in Clifton Church and, something gossip, something like that. And I told them, and I listened, I can listen now, but I also shared my personal experience that, about my life before I'm judging this leader, something like that. What am I doing? I'm working on my own life. I want to be a good person myself. That's what's really important to me. That's why I can feel good inside my own skin, that I don't have to pretend on the outside. So I'm proud of Pastor Justin for speaking up like that. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. Anyone else would like to share? Okay.
I have to say that I'm so proud of Justin. But there are many things we have to recognize, and that is, we have to see where the problem started, the problem of not loving or unconditional love. I grew up in a family where we never talked about LOVE. Of course, I'm the granny here because I'm from the 30s, right, Boris? The 30s. So, but as I was sharing with Susan, we lived in a family like Grand Central. It was my parents, my grandmother, my aunt, uncle, cousins, everybody. There was always somebody around. But you never heard that word, I love you. But we grew up really in a good environment, So where did this problem start? It started with two teenagers who were so excited with everything that God poured into them. You see, they had creativity, they had intelligence, but they had to go through love. They didn't know anything about love, They knew that they had to obey. And then comes this entity, just because he helped, decided, well, I can take charge of this. And we see that pattern in our society. Somebody comes after you, you've laid the foundation, you did everything so that they can come on that foundation and build on it. And then all of a sudden, this person seems to know better than you do. That's a lack of love and respect, you see. So that's something that we need to nurture in our community, respect for each other. And don't blame these young people, because they were given what their parents had, and their parents were given what their parents had, and it goes all the way back to the fall. So the guidance I would give to each and every one of us, when true parents came, before true parents, all we knew was that somebody sinned, and if you did this, you're going to go to hell. But when true parents came, we understood very clearly what the fall caused. And so we must live by that. Those 4 reasons why we don't know how to love, why we are so estranged with among each other. We see color, we see position. Somebody has to sidle up to somebody so they could be recognized. No, you know who you are. You wouldn't have any problem. So I would like to say to the young people today, these young men, love each other and be respectful to whoever, whether it's the whoever comes before you, respect that person's input in life, and mistakes will be made because we didn't know the truth. The absolute truth is that the two people who started this situation were young people just like you. And they did not understand. They were so excited with the qualities that were given to them. And so they went off track. Keep your position.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Wow, amazing. Well, we do have time for one more share. If anyone else would like to. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Justin. We all appreciate the risk you took. So I was sharing in the pair share, my wife and I were both on the front line for a long time. And I had some really intense judgmental central figures for a long time. And unfortunately, I brought some of that home. Father gave a speech once, and he said, when you go to school, you take exams. And some of the tests, some of the answers on the exams are worth 2 points, and some are worth 50 points. Do you want the teacher who teaches you the answer to the 2-point questions or the 50-point questions? And he said that sacrificing your children is the 50-point question, because that's the biggest sacrifice. So we took that seriously. And our 2 older children, we have 4 children, the 2 older ones, we were never with them. We didn't raise them. We didn't love them. Our son, our eldest, was in a nursery for like when he was a year and a half. We saw him once a month for a few hours. And that's created deep scars till this day. And our oldest daughter the same. The younger ones are better off because we were home more when they were little. So what I'm saying this not to say how difficult it was, but more for some of us, and in some way or another, for all of us, it's not just loving them; it's taking responsibility to help them heal from and historical resentment too, from ancestral hard feelings. So, and also with that, it's we can't blame them. They have mistakes. They do things wrong. They're not respectful. They're not religious. Whatever it may be, we're responsible. Our ancestors are responsible. They're not. Of course, they need to take responsibility, but it allows us. It helps us to love them more and be more forgiving and more embracing, knowing that there's a price to pay to help them heal. Thank you.
Yeah, so much healing, right? So much healing to be done. Well, thank you all for sharing, and let's bring up the song team and let's end with the song together.
All right, everybody. Thank you again. It's really been special getting to hear people share and to, I think, get to the crux of it, right? With Pastor Justin's sermon, with why we had the principle, why your parents had to come again. That is that parent-child relationship is central to it. So with that, we want to be able to always finish with, in our hearts, this idea of community and unity, right? Through all of us, we can become one true family. So, Tongil. 우리의 소원은 통일, 은혜로 소원은 통일, 이 목숨 바쳐서 통일, 통일이여라. 이 겨울에 살리는 통일, 이 나라 자는데 통일, 통일이어서 오라, 통일이여라. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our cherished hopes are for unity. Even our dreams are for unity. We'll give our lives for unity. Come along, unity. Unity saving the people. Unity saving all nations. Come here quickly, unity. Come along, unity. Again, that's line. Come along, unity. One more time. Come along, unity. Good thing we did a song we all remember without the screen, right? Appreciate y'all. God bless. Have a great, great week.
Just before you guys leave, the children of the middle school kids made some fruits and crackers for everybody just as appreciation. So please grab some on the way out. Or I think they're coming in. I'm not sure. Oh, here they are. They're right up there, right in the back.